If you follow me on Instagram, I'm some chick who shoots, but I have been traveling a lot. And I've had so many questions on how do you fly with a gun? How do you drive with a gun? How do you go state to state? And I've done like quick little videos on how to's, but I still am getting a lot of requests on, can you just like slow it down for me? So I'm going to Texas. I'm going to walk you through the whole process of how I research, how I pack, what I say when I get to the airport. It's going to be a 3-part video series. This first part is going to be research, and I'm going to show you exactly what I do. Hair is up, we have a coffee, we have a water, and we're going to get into researching. Okay, you should be able to see my screen. I'll do a little side by side, but I get comfy and I do some research. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is go on to USCCA and look at their reciprocity map. The reciprocity map it's going to pop up like this, and I've been using USCCA, for 7 or 8 years. I'm now partnered with them, so they sponsor a lot of my videos for education, but I've used them, since I became a concealed carry permit holder, and they're the easiest when it comes to understanding travel and laws, and they are constantly updating their website to when laws change, which is super nice because I don't want outdated information. So I'm going to look at this. And the very first thing I'm going to do, just to walk you through, is I'm going to click on where I live. So I'm going to click on the state. Now it's going to pop up this really cool, colorful map. If you don't have a permit in your state, look at the blue states. I believe there are 29, but these are constitutional or permitless carry states, which means that you don't need a concealed carry permit to go to these states. The blue ones are your friend. Now the other ones, though, you can see they're red, yellow, green. Let's look at those. And it's got a legend, which is nice. You can kind of see down here. So for an Arizona permit, I can say, okay, red is a no-go. Gray is the state that I have selected. Green is yes, and then blue, constitutional carry, we talked about that. And yellow is yes, but other restrictions. So say I'm going to Wisconsin. Wisconsin is yellow, so that means that yes, but there are other restrictions. So if we just click on this, it'll take you to that spot. And you can see right down here in Wisconsin, just at least 21 years old. So sometimes you can be 18, sometimes you have to be 21. That is the restriction that Wisconsin has, which makes it yellow. Pretty easy. So that kind of breaks down the colors, right? You click on the state that you either have a concealed carry permit or just honestly your own home state so that you can see the color map of what is allowed. And then there's a lot of other information. When you scroll down, there's a summary of the Arizona gun laws, and we'll get into that when it comes to travel. Arizona gun laws at a glance, they go into limits on magazines, the minimum age for concealed carry. They go over permitless carry, the type of non-lethal weapons. Scrolling down, they go into carrying locations. There's a ton of information. So why I use this section is I go in and I click on the state that I'm traveling to. So first, I start with my state and understand, okay, which states recognize my concealed carry permit if I have a concealed carry permit. Then I go to, okay, but what are the laws in said state that I'm going to? So for me, I'm going to Texas. It's very similar to Arizona, so it's kind of easy, but I'll just click on it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down and look at what the laws are in Texas that I know and I'm responsible. I already know that I can carry there, but what are the laws and how do they differ from my state? So they'll go through shall issue, concealed carry, open carry. All these highlighted terms in blue are super helpful. And what I love is if you don't know what shall issue means, watch this. You can click on and they will give you Tom Grieve. He's their criminal defense attorney, but he dives into all of the definitions and terminology, and you can understand what shall issue is and then what states do have shall issue. There's shall issue and may issue. It's changed in 2022 because of a New York Supreme Court hearing. Deadly force in defense of a person. So you can scroll through and you can read the laws of that said state. Castle Doctrine and Stand Your Ground are super important. So you'll click on those, you'll learn about them and understand if that state has it. Last thing I want to touch on with this is kind of those red states. If you're maybe not flying, or maybe you are flying and you're taking a training course, or you're driving through, you're doing a cross country and you need to drive through a state that is red and doesn't allow your concealed carry permit. Let's discuss that. Let's look at California. I actually had to drive from Arizona to California for a handgun and rifle training course. So I had to bring my firearms, and because I was doing it for training, you can, but they have specific laws around it. So what I'm going to do is first click on Arizona. It's my state. I'm learning, okay, California doesn't recognize my concealed carry permit. That's step one. Step two is then clicking on the state that I'm traveling to, California. Now I'm going to understand their laws. So I'm going to disregard the colors and just understand the laws. Of course, they make it so difficult. Generally, so here, open, carry, and or unloaded firearms in public are generally prohibited. I'm not shocked by that. Concealed carry is only legal with a, CCW. Some people call it CCW, some people call it a CHL. It's a concealed carry permit, so whatever your states call it. In terms of reciprocity, California doesn't honor any other states because, okay, no more than 10 rounds. So they do have magazine limits, so I need to be aware of that. What I love about this too is, so you can see, I'm not going to read all this, but they give you like an update on different laws and when they happened, which is super nice. That way you just can be educated. Okay, here's the information that I need. Carry in a vehicle without a license, the firearm must be locked in the vehicle's trunk or locked in a container in the vehicle other than the utility or glove compartment. A locked container is defined as a secure container, which is fully enclosed and locked by a padlock, key, combination lock, or a similar lock device. In addition, ammunition must not be attached to the firearm. So honestly, it's very similar to flying laws. Like they want it in some sort of, think of like a Pelican case or a locking plastic hard case. They want that to be locked. A Vaultec Life Pod, if you have a handgun, they want the gun unloaded. They want ammunition separate. It's like flying laws, which we'll get into. Carry and possess at hotels. So when I'm driving through, this is how they want me. National parks. This is interesting too because I'm driving. If I get pulled over, duty to inform your officer. No, there is no duty to inform. I've talked about this on my Instagram, but you can click on duty to inform. Basically, if you get pulled over, do you have to tell the officer? I would say yes, but it's a concealed carry firearm. You might just want to say I'm traveling through, I'm going to a class, and the guns are in the back. If you live in California or if you are California law enforcement, how would you address that? Okay, let's give one more example. Say I'm in, Indiana, and I want to drive through Illinois, not around Illinois, to go to Iowa, and maybe like I'm going across country because it's summertime, right? But I have to drive through Illinois and I want to bring my firearm. So Indiana, Iowa, you guys are great. You're permitless, constitutional carry, but Illinois is not. So that's what the color codes do, but let's learn about Illinois. So we're going to click on it. Or what I need to do to get from A to B. Not constitutional carry, not surprise. I go through other options, which is nice, less lethal. So pepper spray, tear gas, bear spray, Byrnas, brass knuckles, if you want to walk around with brass knuckles, tasers. So those are other options. Okay, great. Carry in a vehicle. Here we go. Non-residents, this is what we need. Non-residents may transport a loaded concealed carry handgun in a vehicle if they are in possession of a valid CCW permit from their home state. Okay. Non-residents from states that allow for other concealed and or open carry without a license are not required to produce a license provided, and they are eligible to carry in their home state. That's interesting. So how I'm reading this is why it's beneficial to have a concealed carry permit, but non-residents, you can transport a loaded concealed carry handgun in your vehicle if you have your CCW. Non-residents who come from states that are like permitless or constitutional carry, you aren't required to provide a concealed carry permit. You just have to be legally eligible to have one. If non-residents, this is so interesting. If non-residents leave their vehicles unattended, they must store the firearm within a locked vehicle or locked container within the vehicle. Super interesting. Now, I know with Illinois, it's going to be different, I believe, in Chicago. I think Chicago, they have like their own set of laws, kind of like New York City and New York State. So please look at those. If you're driving through, don't drive through Chicago. Do the best you can. If you're driving through here, you're good. If you come from a state that is blue, permitless or constitutional carry, or you have a concealed carry permit in your state, you can drive through Illinois. This is why this information is so important and why you just need to take a little bit of time to do your research before you pack your bags and before you plan your trip, whether you're flying or driving. So for my flying people, this is what I do very often, and you get a lot of questions about how do I pack my bag, how do I pack my firearm, or what happens when I get to the airport, like what exactly do I have to say? So that's going to be next video. I'm going to do a packing video, and then video number 3 is going to be me at the airport. So make sure you like and subscribe, follow me, and watch out for next video.